Okay. Share screen, where are you? Share screen. Okay. And this one, so I showed you how the managerial system behaves and what the information system should support addition of roles. First of all, it should support visualizing these roles and accountabilities, simply visualizing them, how they look like, because text is overwhelming and you cannot orient yourself as a manager. But even more importantly, you will read something if you have time about situation awareness and team awareness. More importantly, how others fit in that. So everybody needs to understand I'm here in project office or I'm here in development, and that's my role. And these are my accountabilities, and these are the things I need, and these are the things given. So everybody should be easily orienting themselves. So it's about orientation and gathering, aligning the team towards the right direction. That's why one important requirement is for this system, main system of role and accountabilities, to be visible immediately on the dashboard or whatever, and to be to have the possibility for easy addition of roles. Roles are popping, accountabilities, then populating them with roles, with with people who is here, or maybe even a company can be populating a role, another subcontractor or something. So, and these to be changed. So that is tricky. Having the system visualized as is at that moment, okay, but having it dynamically in time, it already adds complexity to your part of the work. I will show you in Gephi some things, but to see the dynamic behavior and how they try to do it. Have you seen Gephi? No. Okay, that's software. Gephi, it's free. I think it's now not even beta version. Gephi dynamic graph. You should get it and explore it. Okay, dynamic data set, that's enough to be seen. I don't know whether the audio will be shared, but I don't even know whether there is. Okay, retweets, for example. Okay, and they are showing them over timeline. Okay. So this is, for example, one graph or another behavior, never mind, and how it changes these nodes and edges. And maneuvers can be made. You see here on the left, different maneuvers. And this is how it develops over time. And these are entries in a matrix behind that. Where are you now? Okay, where are you? Here. Hi, Seaman.
Hi.
Welcome.
Sorry, I'm a bit late.
Yeah, no problem. We started and I'm recording it, so if you missed something, you can see it. How are you?
I'm fine.
Okay.
How about you?
Okay. Did you see something? When did you come?
Yeah, I saw the video.
Okay.
3 minutes ago or something.
Okay, so that's one of the software tools that is nicely developed, and maybe even the best tool. Another one is Linkurious, but yeah, they are focusing on something else, but it can also be useful. Linkurious, Gephi. So write them down if you want to explore some more. Okay, like this. Linkurious are the graph visualization platform. And I have Node Excel is the one that is easiest. So do you type this? Do I copy in the chat?
Yeah.
Okay. Linkurious. You have to explore, and you can even include them in the learning mechanism, in the best practices. You can include them in your thesis. These are platforms that are allowing graphs, and graphs are how we visualize adaptability to circumstances. Linkurious, Gephi, I already, so, and behind all this, even in the time dimension of Gephi is our graph matrices. So not complex mathematics behind initially. If you want to do some more metrics, which are possible and great, like, okay, this is Gephi, Node Excel. It's a plugin for Excel, but it was not lightweight. Node Excel, very lightweight and very practical, let's say. Okay, I hope this is the original source, but you will browse for it also. And there are others, but these are okay. Okay, go away. And it's just different matrices behind which node is with which edge connected with which weight even. So sometimes these edges can be having a different weighing, meaning stronger relationship, more dedication or something, or more time invested in them. Regardless, or the nodes can be, you can see different sizes, but in our case we will try to do something with the same size of all nodes, maybe different color of the main two nodes where the primary purpose is, but in principle we don't bother now immediately with that, but later on maybe. So there are different parameters, but you just don't bother with it now, but maybe explore it a little bit just to know what it's capable of. And then metrics, for example, how much is this node in the center between the centrality? How much is this click too far? And it should be more closer, more proximate, meaning, for example, 5 nodes from this click need to be connected with several more from this one, so that we collaborate as EU and Western Balkans, for example. So you have multiple applications and multiple things, diameter of the network, stuff like that, many things, which are interesting for further research too. But these numbers, these parameter indicators, metrics can help, can be investigated somehow also by Siemens on which are the necessary metrics, a graph that explains a managerial system or a company or a business ecosystem needs to have in order to be informed enough and adaptable enough to changes, because they are coming from the other ones, and how close we should be to the other ones. But these are just food for thought, nothing strict, just inspirational thoughts that may give you some inspiration on your side. Okay, and so now I will be talking different stuff to the three of you. In the duo thesis, I may emphasize something, and I may emphasize something for Siemens, so please try to bear with me and ask for clarifications if I didn't make myself clear. This system of, so did we get to this one last time? No? Okay, that's one.
No, I don't think so. No.
Okay, that's one thing, and this is the other one. The other one that I wanted to show you, implementations, where were they? Okay, here. So I will talk in parallel, because that's what we did with Gilles as an improvement. He was also your colleague doing master thesis, and with Deloitte on implementing the Danica method, and try to enhance it with my help and support, of course. So here I started to somehow say these are the components of the Danica method, because they need to be very easily understandable. And then when you go from there in depth, you will learn what you need to do. But in principle, You need to have a system of roles and accountabilities. That's the one that I was showing constantly here, this one, this one. Then you need to have information sensors, what you need to know. If you remember that image with the lady looking, what you need to know about things with different parameters, type of information, manner of obtaining, whether it's qualitative or quantitative information or both, frequency of obtaining, daily, monthly, weekly, whether this information sensor is working or not, for which outcome and which accountability. These are the information, that's one side of the story. Information emitters, those are for what we need to know that would not be told to us, more specific, more delicate, let's say, information. And several aspects of these indicators, whether they are for which interaction or role, what is the type of the information, or whether it's working, and what do we want to take an action to take. And the risk aspect is the risk, the probability to happen, the impact on the project, and what do we do as risk management approach? Accept it, avoid it, transfer, mitigate, or do some contingency planning. And all of these need to be constantly looping the two engines, let's say, of adaptability. That's how we call them. And it's true that they are so. You constantly need to sense whether things are changing with this loop, and you make small improvements continuously with this plan, do, check, act. Because the initial plan, you are already doing it in the beginning. You are drawing your first system of roles and accountabilities and setting up your first indicators. And then you try to see how it sustains, whether things are changing, where they are changing. So that's the entire story. What Gilles did was he included the system of roles and accountabilities with these Deloitte managers and the information sensors and emitters, and clarified that because people don't, I don't explain it nicely, and it's hard to understand what are information sensors, what are information emitters. So he tried to clarify this to the managers and in the work, in the thesis, that these are the ones that are to be pulled, and these other ones need to be pushed to be obtained. So that somehow clarifies things. And we added people management because the managers were constantly saying, but this is about the managers, and we don't emphasize enough that people are the main player here. While I designed this method purely for the people, so that's why we thought it's good to have it separate component, like a block here. That's how it has a place now. It's not just those four things. And if you see these requirements here, it will be some idea how we thought it could look like. And I will tell you about each of them. Governing principles, people management, risk management. So these are like tabs to be clicked. This is the focus, my managerial system. And this is the primary purpose, and how it's between the two roles, and how they decompose then in a system of other roles and accountabilities, all aiming towards the same direction. The information sensors are visible here. After you click on each of the roles or accountabilities, this role, for example, what do I need to know about this role in order to fulfill its accountability? Which are the things that I need to know? These. Okay, emitters, these are the ones. Which are the people in which of these roles, in each of these roles, and what are the risks for each of them? That's one thing. What else did we? So we will go in that. Okay, here are the information sensors. For example, you can see here. Do you see on my screen? It's readable a little bit, right?
Yes.
Okay. So we have, for example, we have a sensor on client management here. It's the client management because in Deloitte, they are doing some consultancy, and the primary purpose is to have no error implemented solution based on leading practices, something they say, by the project manager in Deloitte to the client customer management in the customer's side. And that's the primary purpose. And we have technical analysis, functional analysis, subject matter expertise as roles, legal, staffing, talent. So these roles can have also funny names, not just the ones that we know as positions, jobs positions, finance, et cetera, et cetera. And for example, the information sensor on client management, we need to know whether the client is, whether the primary purpose is achieved, whether the outcome is being made. And so they have some type of information workshop. I don't know, obtain some information on a workshop, frequency every time they meet, way of receiving via a presentation. Usually once the contract is concluded, they have a presentation between the bosses, and that's how it feels with, it goes to the team who is in charge for this implementation or consultation. And then it's quoted, okay, what else would we need to know as information flow from there to the manager in Deloitte? Status meeting or scoping on demand. How do we trigger it on demand? So we need to call, the manager needs to call and make a meeting. It has both qualitative and quantitative information, and the frequencies weekly meetings. Then status meeting for financials meeting. Okay. Engagement and quality assurance, one. Support and advice on projects, okay, on demand in a conversation that you need to pick up the phone and talk to them. It's a qualitative information, and it's ad hoc when something is burning. That's how he assessed. I mean, these are all feedback from the managers. Engage a financial overview, something. Let me see something more specific. Status meeting, project input, staffing update. From staffing, we need staffing update because there are many changes. Someone else is taking one of my people on my project to another project because the boss said so. So those things needs to be sensed constantly. Otherwise, you wake up one morning with new people on your team and taking the best ones from your team. So you have to try to do that as a manager, and you need to be able to see how this helps predominantly the manager, for tactics in here, and also how it involves all the other stakeholders, and how these information sensors are changed. Here, because of COVID, there were changes. So you see here the red changes, the COVID-19 update. Okay, yeah, that's the sensor. Engagement and quality assurance changed. I don't have it now here. I will open his thesis. Changed to more frequently. And one of the principles they had in Deloitte is always go on premises to the client, at least in the beginning 5 months, for example. But with COVID, it's changed. It's that principle, which was governing in the entire institution, was changed. And that's how it reflected also in this managerial system. So there is no going on the site, but we have to be virtual. Changes in expectations also. So you see here how things are being reconfigured, sometimes in the main system of roles and accountabilities, but many times in these aspects, in the content of the information sensors, emitters, and risks and people. So many threats of adaptability are captured like this. When you see the dynamic changes, something is happening from outside, and we need to either add a role or add accountability or repopulate people, roles with people or with others, subsystems, or change the sensors or change the emitters or change the risks or everything. So the three of you need to pay attention to this. So there are many places where these settings allow adaptability. The complex adaptive system is then the people or the team who populate these requirements or settings and try to act in their best possible manner. So we are now trying to support adaptation via complex, via adaptable system. That's the managerial system using the Emitter method, etc., with in order to enable the complex adaptive system to achieve its purpose. I don't know whether this makes sense to you as I'm saying it, but let me see your heads. Does it make sense?
Yeah, I think I understand a bit. What I'm wondering is, how did he actually get this information? Did he do 2 interviews, like one,
Yeah. Yeah.
or did he ask how was it before COVID, or did he do an interview before and after, or how did
I
he?
think he did too, but I'm not sure. I forgot.
Okay.
But I was also doing, but I can provide that answer and I will provide you with the thesis. But I was also doing, let me show you that one. Suelto. Let me see whether I downloaded. I have another computer, so I put everything in the drive. Suelto. I need an Excel something. Suelto, maybe here. I was sending it to Tom. One more. There is another call. Here it is. Maybe. So this is way back in 2014-15 when I was doing the original research. And here we have, with one company, here we have the, oh, come on, the diagram, the role and accountability main diagram. And it's this one, for example. And these are the conditions of satisfaction. If you, when you read the book, it's what I need so that things are done. Otherwise, I may need instruction as an employee. I may need resources. I may need clearance, managerial clearance, etc., etc. And for all of them, this manager that I worked with did some small PDA, plan, do, check, act improvements for all of them. And he captured the status in October, in November, in January, in May, however we collaborated. This is not the complete list, but it shows enough. And then information sensors are similar. Gilles tried to replicate the same experiment. The information sensors are, for example, for customer management, here, and it's what do we need to know? Progress, feedback, results. Read between the lines. If this goes away, we come back again. Strategy sessions, meeting minutes, early warning signs, people issues, used tools, used systems, updates, trainings, etc., etc. Whether this information sensor is working, what are my comments as a manager, what is the frequency to check this thing, the content of this thing, and what's the status in October, November, January, May. So I will send you this Excel sheet. But see here, the managers also had statuses of that information sensor. So it can be, if we take it like this dashboard, it can be maybe even a light bulb, like a small dot when we are active on Skype or somewhere, you know, like green, red, orange, and that can denote whether this sensor is active or retired or whatever. That's one idea how it could go. These are about the information sensors. Then the information emitters, they have a little bit less information. What do I need to know? Whether the advisor is satisfied, whether there are some personal issues, whether there are expectations that are not articulated in the contract, whether about some off-the-record information, early warnings for things that don't go on email, someone from developers is not recording their entries, their logs, so they cannot be calculating the fees, etc., etc. Problems with the system, major changes, personal issues. So these are the information emitters. whether they are receiving whether the manager is receiving information on that, and what is the action to be taken. What do I want to do? Request informal dinner as a manager, or develop a relationship in the coming months, or simple report somewhere sketched somewhere on daily basis to follow something, or making a plan, or assigning a new product manager. Having the information from the client that a new product manager has been assigned. That's not directly in my managerial system, but it's an information that I need. Otherwise, we will lose time until and get surprised at the end. So things like that go into information emitters, and you will see status November, initiated, January, closed, ongoing. Sometimes there are different statuses that they were using, but we can articulate which are the best ones, most useful ones. Then risks. So risks are also a must-have. Experience, for example, with what is the risk with client management role? Their experience. He had very inexperienced customer management. They were new, young people who didn't have a lot of people skills, for example. And he assessed that risk immediately on the level of 3, probability to happen. And what is the impact on the business? It's 5. It may disrupt the entire business. And what does he do? Mitigate. How? Try to help them with some decision making, try to revert some points, raise the issues proactively, etc., etc. And then external counseling and stuff like that. And what are the statuses of these, of the risks? So ongoing or closed, maybe. For another role, for example, it's underperformance. The risk is underperformance, probability 1. So they have to think of the risks for each role. If you don't force them to think and make an entry, then they omit it. It's somehow the managers have more priorities, and then they don't see things clearly from the entire system. So that's something that we would enforce them, inspire them to do. Technology transfer, updates on the system. So this is about the risks. So you see the template of reasoning is similar for all of these components about the sensors, emitters, risks. And then the next one that is introduced now, and we will have it, is the people aspect, the people component, who populates which role. And I will tell you that via my experience. So this is now initiation of description on exact actual input as you were interviewing me for implementation of the Danica method, and it's via this hackathon engagement. Okay, publications hackathon, the system of roles and accountabilities. Where are you? Here it is. Okay, we have a few more minutes. If they don't give us a bonus, we will actually have to come back. Okay, so this is the last stage for me to explain to you. Would you like a break? Do you think we need to get up, get some coffee for 5-10 minutes, or do we continue and finalize this?
For me, but personally, you can continue, but I don't know about the rest.
I don't mind.
For me too.
Okay, let's continue and shape all in one. Okay, so I was coordinating, I am coordinating a group of 50 co-authors coming from academia or from different places in practice or institutions or from the globe. We are producing a publication about EU versus virus. It was a specific phenomena that happened and obtained voluntary effort on global scale. And it was done very uniquely and very successfully, let's say, as organization. And we are trying to make a publication around it, model, showcase the model, showcase the workflow and the mechanisms so that the world can replicate it in reality, again, maybe in hackathons, maybe in practice, in collaboration, in consortia, in grants, in collaboration across countries, etc. So that's why we continued after it, and we are working for almost a year on the research, on the interviews, on the data, on the methodology, on many things. How we try to orient ourselves in one. Let me go into the first one if I find it. If not, I will look for it here. So how we try to orient ourselves in time. Yeah, I don't think I can find. Maybe I put it somewhere. Zoom in. Okay, let me zoom in. I'm reading now my own instruction because this was a year ago. It started with one diagram. So you imagine you have people, 50 people you don't know personally, virtual, that we need to, first of all, get together, align on what we can do, capabilities, what we can achieve, where do we want to go, do we want to publish in a journal, do we want to, so there are many dilemmas, and we are a random set of people around a same purpose. So what got us together was the purpose. And that's why these main two roles are around the main purpose are the open academia. We called ourselves Open Academia Diffusion Team, because the fusion of academia into practice, blah, blah, blah. So we need to deliver to the actual science and practice, to the globe, actually, applicable knowledge on how to co-create value together. That's what we want to do. We want to publish applicable knowledge with scientific methodology on how to co-create value together. And we are using the case study of EU versus virus. So that's the primary purpose. And I hope it's pretty clear. Let me see your heads nodding. Does it make sense? You're okay. It's understandable. That's the primary purpose. And then we need to, once we get acquainted, but we get acquainted on the go. So we don't know each other. 50 people cannot spend 50 hours explaining what they do, what they can do. We try to compose a system of roles and accountabilities at the first stage. We have a first stage to somehow, it's called you can see here, maybe not, maybe yes, co-intuiting and co-interpreting stage in open innovation, in open collaboration, in open co-authorship. You have to intuitively orient yourself around something and then interpret things in the same time, in the same manner, because we were from different backgrounds. Some are from medical fields, some are from economics, some are from managerial, some are from ICT.